When I was a teenager, I made a plan to retire young. I wasn't just daydreaming, I was studying, analyzing, and laying the foundation for financial freedom decades before it would become a reality. While my friends were thinking about cars, concerts, clothes, TV shows, movies, and homework, I was spending my time at the library, poring over books by Robert Kiyosaki, Warren Buffett, Benjamin Graham, and Carleton Sheets. I fell in love with the book The Millionaire Next Door. I memorized real estate listings. I was very focused on retiring young, even as a teenager. Check out the full details of how I retired young by visiting the link in the description. Yes, this is an AI voice, but a real person wrote this. I earned my financial freedom and I'm not doing this for money. I don't like narrating videos, so I use an AI voice. Ignore that the voice is AI. The video is worth it. The plan. How I built a two-tier strategy for early retirement. I was obsessed with learning how money worked, how investments compounded, and how people built wealth. That obsession turned into a blueprint, and that blueprint became the life I live now. The plan I created as a teen was simple but ambitious. Number 1. Get enough money in a taxable account to last from my early 40s to 60. Number 2. Simultaneously max out tax-deferred accounts to fund life from 60 until death. That split strategy gave me options. I didn't have to touch retirement accounts early or worry about penalties. I had real money I could access when I needed it, and traditional retirement funds waiting for me later. It wasn't complicated. It was intentional, and that made all the difference. The foundation, a relentless focus on saving and learning. I was raised with two core financial lessons: frugality and investment. My mom was incredibly frugal, and she taught me the value of saving. Money wasn't something to be wasted, it was something to be protected. My dad was a businessman, and he taught me the importance of investing. Saving alone wouldn't be enough. I had to put my money to work. From a young age, I took these lessons to heart. I worked whatever jobs I could find and saved every dollar I earned. While most people waste money and time, I hoard money. Always have. The hustle. Paying my own way through college. When it came time for college, I refused to take on much debt. I worked in a factory to pay my way through school, grinding through shifts while earning not 1, but 2 degrees by the time I was only 20 years old. I also flipped products on eBay. For example, I would sell DVD players on eBay for $400. Then, I would go buy them at Circuit City for $200. I did this with many products. I would just stalk slickdeals.net, buy stuff, then sell it on eBay. This still works. The discipline to push through hard things and willingness to hustle became two of my defining traits. I took out student loans. I paid them back. Quickly. I paid them all off less than a year after graduating college. The career, learning mortgages inside and out. My first job after college was as a technical writer, but my first financial job started when I became a mortgage broker. At the time, interest rates were in the 7s. The job gave me an inside look at how the mortgage industry worked, how loans were structured, and how people used real estate to build wealth. I absorbed everything I could. I saw the mistakes people made, the ways they overleveraged, and how banks operated. I also saw thousands of credit reports, tax returns, W-2s, pay stubs, etc. I connected all the dots. All of this knowledge became fuel for my long-term plan. My first look behind the curtain, mortgage broker. Before that finance role, I worked as a mortgage broker and saw how the industry really worked. Interest rates were in the 7s, and people were stretching themselves thin. I saw 1,000s of credit reports, W-2s, tax returns. I learned how people borrowed, spent, and struggled. That job taught me how banks operated and how real estate could build wealth, or wreck it. Those lessons still shape how I think about money today. My career, climbing the ranks without playing the game. Once I broke into financial services, I found my lane. I focused on solving tough problems, building efficient systems, and learning investment products inside and out. I didn't chase titles, but I kept getting promoted. Not because I was flashy, but because I figured things out and made things work. I led projects for the CEO, COO, and CRO. I managed an investment risk team. I chaired the investment policy committee. All without an MBA or a finance degree. The youngest person in the room. I managed an investment risk team that reported to the CRO. I was a SR manager in the Research and Advice Department. I led the Investment Policy Committee. I had rather senior roles despite my worthless psychology and philosophy degrees. I was always the youngest person in the room. My ability to figure things out, do hard things, and see opportunities others missed made me a valuable asset. My career, credentials, discipline, and the bigger plan. Throughout my career, I earned multiple professional licenses and became a Chartered Financial Analyst, CFA, widely regarded as the most challenging certification in finance, even more difficult than the CFP or CPA. I eventually climbed to high-ranking titles like First Vice President, but my financial success wasn't immediate. Despite my growing expertise, I didn't make $50,000 a year until I was in my 30s. The journey wasn't about chasing a high salary. It was about positioning myself for financial independence. My career wasn't just a job. It was part of a larger strategy to learn everything I could about finance, investing, and efficiencies while quietly executing my long-term plan for early retirement. The real estate play, building my taxable portfolio. At age 21, I bought my first rental house with only $800 out of pocket. It wasn't a fluke. I had been stalking for sale listings and for rent listings for years, learning the market inside and out. I understood property values, rental demand, and financing strategies before I ever made my first purchase. Then I did it again and again. Over the next few years, I kept buying houses, all with no money down. My strategy was simple. Let tenants pay off the properties while I held on to them, and then sell them later to fund my early retirement. Meanwhile, I maxed out my 401k every year, building my tax-advantaged savings so I'd have funds waiting for me when I turned 60. The execution, sticking with the plan for 20 years. For the next 20-plus years, I stuck with the plan. There were challenges, but I never backed down. I had to figure things out, do hard things, and adapt when necessary. But I never lost sight of the goal, complete financial freedom before 45. And then, at 42 years old, I retired. The mindset that made early retirement possible. Retiring young wasn't just about numbers. It took discipline to keep going, strategy to make the math work, and a mindset built to stay focused for decades. Here are the principles and habits that actually made my early retirement possible. Satisficing over maximizing. I don't chase the best. I chase good enough. I don't need the best car, the best house, or the best luxury experiences. I focus on what works for my happiness and financial goals. This is why I was able to save and invest consistently, because I never felt the need to upgrade my lifestyle unnecessarily. Hoarding money, like it's an obsession. I hate spending money. The only time I spend is when it's something that makes me genuinely happy. I can't waste money on things that don't bring real value to my life. Doing hard things and figuring things out. I worked in a factory to pay for school, learned the mortgage industry inside and out, had a successful career in financial services, despite worthless psychology and philosophy degrees, and managed rental properties on my own. Whatever the challenge, I figured it out and pushed through. Being immune to FOMO. I say it all the time on Twitter when people ask how I retired early. I'm immune to FOMO. I don't chase trends, I don't care what others are doing, and I never spend to impress. I stuck to my plan and ignored the noise. Ignoring bad advice. I've heard a lot of good advice that would have wrecked my plan. If I listened to all of it, I'd still be working. I got good at spotting what didn't make sense and walking away. Long-term vision and unbreakable discipline. Most people want instant gratification. I was playing the long game. I delayed rewards, stayed the course, and trusted my plan even when things got tough. Life after retirement. Living the plan and paying it forward. Now that I've retired, my focus has shifted to helping others understand money, financial independence, and the realities of early retirement. I've built websites, written extensively about personal finance, and continued to share the lessons I've learned. It's my way of paying it forward. But I also keep my identity anonymous because this was never about selling courses, building a personal brand, or making money off people's dreams. I actually did it. And now I'm enjoying life on my own terms, just like I planned. Thanks for watching. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Also, don't forget the link in the description.